Hello, Assalamu alaikum. In this video, we will discuss moderated mediation using Model 15. Model 15 is graphically like that it is affecting the path mx and xy relations. In our last video, we used Model 14, which helps in computing the statistics of impact by a moderator on the path B only. But in this model 15, the impact of moderator will be computed path B as well as path C prime. So in this video, we shall explain how a designation as a moderator changes the indirect effect of X on Y. The model will use these variables. As a predictor, we shall use self-confidence. The employee performance Y will be the criterion variable, dependent variable. Organizational culture M will be the mediator, and designation will be used as moderator. So let's go to the SPSS and compute the required statistics regarding the role of designation in changing the indirect relationships of X and Y. To compute the required statistics, we shall go for the process model and give the variables to the software: self-confidence, independent variable, employee performance, outcome variable, organizational culture as the mediator, and designation will play the role of moderator. And we shall request for total effect model to make the decision about how far the moderated mediation has occurred. Finally, we have to select the model to process, and that is Model 15, and click OK. The results are coming. It takes some time. So the statistics computed through process model is here, and it gives us the information about different aspects of the moderated mediation process model. I have posted all these results in the slideshows, so let's go for the slideshow. The computations from the process model will start with a descriptive statistics about the variables and the sample. As we have already explained that Y is our employee performance, dependent variable, X is the self-confidence, M is the organizational culture, and V is the designation, and that is the model representing the processes are the interactions, computations between different variables. The first output about the impacts of self-confidence, path A, impacts of self-confidence on organizational culture, shows that R square is 0.47, meaning that around 48% of variation in organizational culture is coming from the self-confidence, and this result of 0.478 is also significant because p-value is 0.000 while the required is equal to or less than 0.05. Likewise, the coefficient of self-confidence is also huge, 0.794, and it is supported by the statistics. For example, the t-score is 16.3, far greater than required minimum 1.96. P-value is also significant, and the upper and lower limits of confidence interval, they are both on the positive side, so there is no chance of 0 between these two limits are within the range. So the first outcome shows that there is significant relationship between X and M. The second output from the process is about the impacts of all the variables on employee performance, impacts of X and Y, XM and Y, and XM and designation. So all the direct and indirect impacts of all the variables on employee performance are given here, and we can see that R square is 0.59, meaning that around 60% of variation is explained by all these variables. It is also significant. P-value is far less than required 0.05. And in the coefficients, we can see that organizational culture is significant with 0.378 as the value. T-score is 4.9, greater than 1.96. P-value is also significant, and the lower and upper limits of confidence interval, they are also falling on the positive side, so there is no 0 between the range. All these statistics support that the organizational culture is significantly associated with or predicting the employee performance. As far as self-confidence is concerned, it has gone negative as well as insignificant. You can see that p-value is far greater than given 0.05, t-score is less than 1.96, and in lower and upper limits of the confidence interval, one value is minus, which means that 0 comes between the range. So the role of self-confidence has gone insignificant, so it is not playing any role, significant role in changing the employee performance. Next variable is the designation, and we can see that designation is also significant but negatively connected with employee performance. Its coefficient value is huge but negative. T-score is 4.4, far greater than 1.96. P-value is significant, as well as since both the values of lower and upper limits of confidence interval are on the same side, so no chance of 0 within the range. Next is interaction term 1. Interaction term 1 is the computed variable for path X and Y when designation is working as a moderator on this path C prime path. This term is also insignificant. We can see that the lower and upper limits of confidence interval, one of them has 0, which means one of them is negative, or we can say that both are not falling on the same side, rather one is on the negative side and the other limit is on the upper limit is on the positive side. So it means that 0 is coming between the range. So likewise, p-value is also insignificant, 0.34, far greater than 0.05. T-score is far less than 1.96. So interaction term 1 on this path is totally insignificant, while the interaction term 2, which is computed on MY path when the designation is working on path B. This variable is significant with coefficient of 0.37. T-score is greater than 1.96. P-value is also significant. It is less than 0.05. And likewise, the lower and upper limits of the confidence interval, they are on the same side, so no chance of 0. The final output of the process model is direct and indirect effects of X on Y. Conditional direct effects on path A with moderator operating are coming in two forms. One is that when X is affecting Y in the form of staff member, then the results are insignificant. Effect is negative. T-score is far less than required 1.96. P-score is also insignificant, and lower and upper limits of confidence interval are also showing insignificant results. While when X is affecting Y as an officer, or in the case of officer, the results are significant. The effect is 0.312 and it is significant as per values of T-score, which is greater than 1.95, P-value, as well as the confidence limits. So the direct effect shows that the moderator has worked quite clearly, and the direct effects of officer are significant, while the direct effects of the staff member, they are insignificant, meaning that the staff members have lesser opportunities to use their self-confidence in affecting their employee performance or their performance and organizational performance. Next, the conditional indirect effects of X on Y, effects of X on Y through mediator and moderator. These will also come in two forms, that in the presence of organizational culture, when the staff members are used as the operators of this mechanism, then the effect is 0.300 and it is significant. Likewise, when it is the officer in the presence of organizational culture, the effect is 0.378 and it is also significant. Now, it shows that with the help of organizational culture, both officers as well as the staff members get some opportunity to use their self-confidence in positively affecting their performance. While without organizational culture, the staff members have no or insignificant opportunities, insignificant effects on employee performance using their self-confidence. So today we have explained the moderated mediation using Model 15 to demonstrate that how the moderator, which is designation, a dichotomous variable representing officers and staff, that how this moderator works in a situation where the X is self-confidence and employee performance is the dependent variable, while the organizational culture is the mediator, or more precisely, the question is that whether self-confidence of employees affects employee performance, and this relationship of X and Y is supported by organizational culture or not. And the secondary question was that what if the designation changes from officer to the staff member, then what are the results of the process which we are saying that self-confidence affecting employee performance in the presence of organizational culture. So that is the end of today's lecture. See you in the next, and Khuda Hafiz.